I am being joined by three individuals that some of you may know. If you don't know them, you'll want to know them because they're very impressive in their own fields. And I'm glad to call them customers, but hopefully also professional friends. And it's very meaningful to me to have them with me. First and foremost, I am joined by Akshatha Naresh. She is a service director of operations at Global NTT. Please join me. You're welcome. Next, I am joined by Anish Goyal. He is a manager of customer support at Basware. Anish, please join us. Thank you. And last but not least, Arjun Krishnamoorthy. He is a manager, principal data scientist at Informatica. So please welcome. Thank you. And so now we're going to sit down and have a chat with each other. So we said we were going to cut through a lot of the hype today. So we're going to have a very meaningful conversation, not only about you and your roles and what you think of what's going on in support right now, but also, how your organizations are using AI, how you've gone through the process of selecting some of your AI tools and such. So again, thank you for joining me. Ready for the volley of questions? Okay. We'll be gentle on you, I promise. So AI is transforming support. We know that. But before we dive deep into the topic, what I want to know from each of you, what are the most significant challenges that you see right now for your support teams and what they're facing? So I'll start with you.
Good afternoon, everyone. In today's challenging and fast-paced support experience landscape, we see a lot of interesting challenges that the support team faces. To highlight some of them, it is about expectation management from the customer's point of view and enhancing the customer experience in every possible interaction that we have with support. That is one of the things, right? In the past, support used to be an isolated one-off interaction with the customer, but that is no longer the case. Every single interaction is important. And especially if you take a look at cloud products, customers expect that we understand the environment they're using, the use case that they are trying to solve, and provide proactive and prescriptive recommendations as solutions to them. So if you look at it as a holistic approach, it's not just about accelerating the resolution process using tools like AI and automation, but also understanding the customer's behavior, the customer's expectations, etc., and cater to them accordingly. So these are some of the challenges I see as a support team they face today.
Great. Thank you. Anish, what about you? What are you seeing?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. I think what Arjun mentioned is very well defined. I think customer support is no longer just solving tickets. It's more about how we can deliver the service in a personalized way. Customer expect like a very personalized service, fast responses. So yeah, I think that's one of the key challenges.
Okay. What are you seeing at NTT?
Good afternoon, everyone. So, I think I'm going to echo a lot what has been said earlier. The advanced technology is something where the expectation from the clients are more from us. Yeah, so the challenge we face is understanding the expectation and delivering those expectations. That is the one challenge. And the flip side of it is getting the clients to use AIs or the technologies, what we are enhancing is another problem. For example, in our support world, it's been a struggle for us to bring our clients to a digital platform or a workspace. We have both kind of challenges from our side and their side as well.
Absolutely.
I think it's more related to the balance between the AI driven approach and the human touch. That's one of the challenges.
Yeah, without a doubt. And I'm sure all of you are seeing this too. I think one of the things that we can't take for granted is we're also seeing a high level of, as we all call it, FUD, fear, uncertainty, and the doubt that our own staff have. what's going to happen to them? What is going to be their role? What is that job that they have today going to look like 6 months from now, 12 months from now? Are they going to have a job? Because there's still some of that uncertainty that they have. And I think as leaders in the space, we're managing the support operations. We're managing the customer expectations, as you've said. And meanwhile, we have a staff that we're taking care of who we have to take on this journey with us. Some of them very willingly, some of them maybe not so willingly. We know we went through this with knowledge management, right? And self-service. Some were not really willing to go on that journey because it was scary. And now looking back, they know they made it through that. Yes, we modified their roles. They still have jobs, of course. They're different than they were. But this one is bigger, right? And this challenge that we have. And so for any of you in a management leadership position, even if it's an IC and you're managing projects and such, you are surrounded right now by the demands of the customers and the demand, as you said, for personalization, predictive support, know me, know what I want when I want it. And then you have the technology, and then you have the people that you're taking care of on a daily basis who are taking care of those customers. So it's a lot to balance. So for me, I hope you all give yourself some grace as you go through this journey, because it's a complicated journey and it's heavy. And none of us have all the answers right now because it's changing second by second. And so have grace with yourself, have grace with each other, and just know we're in it together. Like we said, we're a community. Talk to each other about what you're going through. I think that's first and foremost one of the things we can do to help each other along as we continue. So Akshatha, this one's for you. There's a lot of focus on elevating the agent experience, but do customers actually want you introducing the enhancements at the rate that we are? Because it's fast right now. And what's your perspective on that? Because as we talk about the support experience, that's what we're here for today. When we focus so much on the agents and the employees and such, customers are impacted by that. Are you hearing from your customers? Like you said, you had to take yours on a journey to the digital. We saw Dilip's videos earlier. Tell the audience what that's like at NTT.
In short, yes. But let me elaborate on this whole life cycle, what we have gone through. I think more than enhancing the client experience, it was very important for us to quantify and qualify the elevation of the agent experience and ensuring that there is an outcome what we are driving for the client. So it all meant what is in for the client and why we are doing this. And I will talk by examples here. See, one of the use cases, we are taking help of SupportLogic, wherein we have enhanced our agent skills and we are now able to respond to our clients faster. We are able to resolve faster. We are using, again, one of the use cases from SupportLogic where we are prioritizing the client sentiments and we are able to respond to a crisis before it can happen. Yes, in short, yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Anish?
I think it's more about a shift from being a reactive support to a proactive support in terms of with the sentiment signals, like something you are getting to know in early rather than you get it at the end of the conversation. So I think that's a shift that needs to be developed.
Okay. What are you seeing at your organization, the biggest opportunities that you have right in front of you right now? Besides the shift that you spoke of, what are the other opportunities?
I think one opportunity we have identified is the knowledge management.
The what? I'm sorry.
Is the knowledge management.
Yes.
And I spoke to some of the friends at SupportLogic today in the morning that how we can use AI to build our knowledge management. So both customers and the support engineer have access to the accurate, up-to-date information so we can faster the resolution times.
Yeah. I think the knowledge management piece, it's been something that we, as an industry, if we're honest with each other, we've struggled with it for years, right? Some of us have been able to work knowledge management and document creation into our workflow, but others, they'll tell you they're frankly still struggling with that, right? We're so heavy with cases. I want to produce that content. I don't have time. I have to get to my next case and my next case. And I think, what I've seen, because I get to interact with our customers, that case summarization piece, the fact that you can take that and turn that into instant knowledge that's available to your customers literally in seconds, that's amazing. It's not the heavy process of, and no offense to anybody, the KCS process, it can be heavy in an organization, right? There's a lot of steps. There's a lot of people involved. And we have organizations now, from the time the case is closed to the time the knowledge content is available on the portal, seconds, right? Think about what that used to be. It could be days, it could be weeks, it could be months, right? Before a document was actually available publicly to a customer. And so if you just think about that one piece, that can totally turn your world around for the customers and for the agents. And it takes that heaviness off of them. And while our reasons for doing it might be case deflection, it might be that's what we're trying to do, but the positive note that comes from it for the agents and the customers, it's more than just deflection.
But I think it's beneficial as well. So if we see like the case complexity is increasing day by day. So having a better knowledge management, support engineers will be able to have better access to resources that they can use to resolve the tickets quickly.
Absolutely. So Arjun, customer expectations, we're going to come back to that one for a second because I know you're dealing with it every day as well. So we talked a bit about customers being more demanding. They want more personalized. They want more predictive. What do you think the most significant change must be today? If this audience walked out of here, what is the most significant change in how they need to engage with their customers?
One of the most significant change, I think Anish also resonated on that, right? It is more being proactive in your support. More than that, in cloud landscapes, customers are expecting more preemptive support. If you take Informatica as a case in point here, we were an on-premise product company a few years ago. From there, we have transformed into a cloud on consumption company. So in this process, now we have customers at different segments, right? Customers using on-premise products, customers using fully cloud products, and customers who are hybrid too. So the expectation levels of each of these customers is different. For on-premise products, for every single thing, you go back to the customer, discuss what you want and get it. While for cloud customers, as I was talking in my previous answer, customers expect that you understand the environment and do what it takes to resolve the issue. And you also become more anticipatory and prevent issues from arising in the first place. So that is the expectation. Most importantly, it is about effort management too. See, this is one of the places where the industry is also moving, right? From the point of view of measuring something like a CSAT, companies are moving towards customer effort score measurement. How much effort does a customer take to interact with the support organization to get what they want? So overall, if you look at it, being more preemptive, proactive, and also ensuring that you reduce the effort of the customer will go a long way in ensuring that you give the best possible engagement effort to the customer.
Absolutely. Out of curiosity, how many of you are measuring customer effort score? Just show me some hands. Yeah. I don't know if you've looked into it, but that's something I'd say the last certainly 10 or 15 years has been truly amazing and more meaningful because Net Promoter, while it's a very interesting number, we all know what happens with Net Promoter. It really is a rhetorical question. And when I used to be at TSIA and auditing and assessing customers, how I actually started to interact with the three organizations here, it's like saying, would you go skydiving? Sure. Yeah, I would do that. Now try to get me to go because it's rhetorical. Would you recommend this organization? Sure. But are you really doing that? Right? Will you really take that next action? Where in fact, customer effort score, it gets right to it. Are you difficult to work with? Is your organization difficult to work with? Just a side note, I'm not plugging any one company here because customer effort is a simple question, just like NPS. But if you're not asking it, it's probably something to look at because it's far more telling and it gets you to the source of pain, but it also gets you to the source of goodness. Because if the customer says, yeah, no, you're easy to work with, I enjoy my interactions, keep doing the things that you're doing, right, to make sure that the customer continues to enjoy and finds it effortless to work with you. So I'm glad that you brought that one up. It's a really good metric in today's world. So let's talk about some real world use cases in our organizations for AI. So I'll reverse this time. How is Informatica today leveraging AI or predictive analytics? And as you talk about that, talk to us about how you're identifying and addressing customer needs, especially before they escalate.
I'm lucky that I got to answer this question because there is a strong connection between this question and my data science journey. I think my prediction says that this will be a long answer, probably 4 minutes I may take, but the confidence interval is around 90%. So I think if I'm allowed, I would probably like to share something. Yeah.
You are allowed. If you feel me getting anxious because you're speaking more than 10 minutes, just read the room. How's that?
Perfect. Yeah.
Good.
So I started my journey way back in 2016, right? I transitioned from the role of a support manager into the founding member of the data science team within Informatica. Don't ask me what's the connection between support manager and a data scientist. Is there any logic? But I can say it is purely magic because the kind of domain understanding that I could take from the support working experience, the first use case that I delivered as part of the data science role was predictive escalation, which you would have heard Karan talk about a lot of the capabilities around predicting escalations from SupportLogic. At that point in time, we had hand-coded that as a solution. Some of you who have worked in the pre-GPT era, how complex these things were those days. It was not easy to even do a proper sentiment analysis. It took a lot of time. So somehow we handcrafted a solution and got it working. But as time progressed, the data science team grew and we had to get into other use cases. At the same time, as I was alluding to our journey as a company, you heard that we had different kinds of customer segments, on-premise products, cloud products, and so on. So expectation management at scale is what we wanted to look for. So that is where, thanks to SupportLogic, we partnered with them. It has been, I think, since 2022 or so, we are with SupportLogic. A lot of these things that we were doing from custom coding, like the sentiment analysis, attention score, account insights, all these things were available out of the box. So it was pretty useful for us to manage escalations. In fact, I was even reconsidering my decision and thinking of going back to the support manager or looking at the comfort and convenience that SupportLogic provided. But I did not go there. That's a different thing. But yes, this is one particular aspect of how we manage support, the escalations. Another thing is we have also built a case prioritization view for the engineers, which looks at additional signals on top of the standard ones like case priority, customer segmentation, etc. We look at several other signals like the upcoming renewal patterns, like what Karan has alluded in his demo, any upcoming risks or milestones for the customer. All these aspects are also incubated into the algorithm, which stack ranks and provides a good case prioritization views. So these are some ways by which we manage escalations proactively.
That's awesome. And that wasn't really long.
I thought it was probably I was on time.
You were perfect. It's all
Thank you.
good. I love it. And I love the fact that you were willing to say you thought about going back to support management, but you're happy where you are, because that's one of those moments for me when I hear someone say something like that our software, aren't you happy about that, Karan? It's brilliant. It makes me so happy because the truth is support managers, we're wired differently. There's something special in your heart, right? And that's meaningful that you thought about going back. Thanks. Anish, I'm going to come to you. This is a little bit of a loaded one because I happen to know, because I presented recently with your leader when we were in Orlando together, and we talked about some of the results that you were seeing with SupportLogic. So I'll share a result first and then you can go. Is that fair?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. I was with TSIA, right? And I led the support research practice, customer success research practice. Again, how I met folks here in the room and on the stage. And I decided that I needed to know if I was right about a lot of the stuff that I was saying. I was giving all of this counsel to organizations. And somebody asked me, how do you know if what you're telling them is right? So long story, I ended up going to work for Salesforce, running Service Cloud support. I had been at Salesforce exactly 2 hours. Literally, it was my first day of work. And the first phone call to my cell phone that I had was a sales rep escalating a customer to me. And I thought, wow, I haven't even onboarded yet. And the first person I'm talking to is an upset AE. And then that continued and continued. And my first thought was, oh boy, what have I done? I left this amazing role at TSIA to work for Salesforce, and I am getting bombarded with escalations. So the first call, literally, that I made was to Krishna, the CEO. I had met him at some conferences, and I said, "Did you build that software that you were talking about?" And he said, "Yep." And I said, "I need that." So imagine being on the job just weeks, and somebody from the IT department comes and says, "Miss Platz, we don't buy software at Salesforce." "Oh, okay. We build software here." Oh, okay, yeah. So I got in a little bit of trouble, right? So what we agreed to was to do a side-by-side of Einstein and SupportLogic. Thankfully, I kept my job and I was able to buy SupportLogic and bring it in. We took our escalations from high double digits to, and today it's still there and it's available. Actually, we have a great video and a case study, 1% and holding. That was huge, right? To go from high double digit escalations to 1%. And now it's just a flat number. And it's one of the first times Salesforce is happy to have that flat number because it's not going up. And there's really not much to go down anymore. So true story, case study, it's all validated, I promise you. So let's talk about some of the results that Basware has seen.
Do you have the slide as well?
We do not have the slide,
Okay.
but I know some of the numbers, 56%.
Yeah. So probably maybe I won't talk about the numbers. I'll just start first with the need.
Yeah.
So when we started with actually SupportLogic, there was a need. We had a massive case volume and we actually wanted to see which should be the focus areas for us. And that was the need with which we reached out to SupportLogic and we engaged with the team and finally we onboarded with SupportLogic. Initially, we tracked some key metrics like a sentiment score, likely to escalate. Those used to see, those were not like clearly visible to us. That were not making sense if we align it with our key metrics. But at a certain point, everything was aligned. So be it sentiment score, it was aligning very well with our KPI, which is customer satisfaction. So when we started tracking it, like sentiment score, it was somewhere in 50, 56, what you just mentioned. And we just closed, I think last month at 93%.
56 to 93.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you've been a customer a little over a year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's awesome.
And even for the customer satisfaction level, that's growing in the same direction.
Absolutely. That's amazing. We didn't talk about this question, but I'm going to throw it to you. I told you I'd be nice, but tell me about this one. What does it feel like for your engineers and your managers? It has to be a lift. Like there has to be a better spirit, right?
Exactly. The team is very well excited. Even this week itself, I'll just share it with the group here. We just got recognized by Gartner for the industry leader in our domain.
Congratulations.
Yeah. And we are also celebrating 40th year at Basware. So the team is very well excited. And with seeing these kind of numbers, that's ice on the cake.
Yeah. There's nothing like being recognized, right? For that shot in the arm that can give you. And I know there's members in the room here. We just saw the Stevie Awards announcements. Who's in the room? Did an Automation Anywhere? Are you here? A few of you had some amazing Stevie wins. If you were part of that, congratulations. And certainly Gartner recognition is amazing. JD Powers, I know that's something certain individuals continue to win and thrive, JD Powers certification. Congrats. That's really cool. Akshatha, question for you. A little bit about the footprint. How many customers are you supporting at NTT?
8,000 clients in NTT for 3 centers.
In 3 call centers. So the And we know Dilip, he's just absolutely a raving person when it comes to that ideal support experience. But how are you doing that at such a grand scale? Talk a little bit about what the map is and such. And I'm asking this because a lot of organizations struggle when you start to talk about software acquisitions, right? Or building software. What does that mean? How much of an operations team do I need? And we've never seen the operations numbers be right in support. You do more with less, right? And you're pulling support managers into roles they've never had before and such. So tell us how you're doing this at scale, please.
Okay, I think this is going to be a long answer.
It's okay. We have a precedent for it. Go.
Okay, I have been with NTT for last 13 years, and I had the privilege to see the team grow and learn during the changing times. So I let me tell you the story, of how we started and where we are now. What we used to do is we used to shortlist top clients and then send our SDMs, service delivery managers, and account managers to meet the clients and get a survey, get a feedback. Then you come back and then we sit down, make a rag out of it and see if there is any improvement to be worked out. And this is how it was. This is how we started. And then is when we realized now we need to get feedback for every ticket we are resolving. And then we started sending surveys to the clients to get the survey from them. And again, this is something which is very reactive in nature. And I get very little to no time to basically react or help the client in fixing this kind of issue. And also my response rate was just 8% when we used to send the survey. And this was a problem statement for me and for us and in NTT. And that is when we worked with SupportLogic to help us. Now I know the pulse of the client from the time the client comes through any of the channels. And we are monitoring the interactions from the word go. And I have my supervisors looking into the dashboards. I have the agent module. I think I know a little more than the product than Karan here. We do have the agents and engineers using SupportLogic to basically plan their day, prepare themselves before getting into the call with the clients. So I have used SupportLogic in a way that from an engineer to a manager to a client manager is now able to see the data and be more proactive and handle the escalation before it can happen. And it's not just about escalation. It is about preparing yourself to what you want to present to clients. And so SupportLogic has helped me with the speed and scale where I can actually improve and elevate my client experience. Yep.
Great. Thank you so much. Good story. So, Anish, we're going to make you, since you've been in the middle, I'm going to give you one in the beginning. How's that? AI and automation are transforming customer interactions. How are you using the software, not just the interactions, but the customer relationship, okay, which is broader than these back and forth that we're having through the cases, similar to using it to understand your customer health score, the sentiment. Are you giving this information to others in the organization? Tell us about using the scale of AI for the relationship in entirety.
Yeah, definitely. At Basware, it's now 40 years that we are automating invoice processes for account payable team. So automation is already there with us. So we are also building in AI in our product offerings as well. Specifically within support, we have introduced over the past years, there has been a focus towards AI. So be it chatbots for self-service, be it language translation, be it sentiment analysis, be it case summarization. So I think there's a lot more with AI that we can do.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. Arjun, what are some of the common pitfalls you're seeing when you're scaling your customer engagements? Like you said, you go across the board, right? You have on-prem, you have in the cloud, and you have hybrid. So let's talk a little bit about the common pitfalls, because we've all run into some of them, and we can probably save our peers some time and energy and not run into them. What do you think?
Some of the common pitfalls, of course, is not having a proper data strategy, right? For any AI project that you want to do, data is paramount. So when it comes to data, there is one company that normally leads the way, and I am proud to be working for that very one. So data and data management is important. And the next important step is, of course, content, because we are talking about customer engagement. We talked about personalization of the solutions to the customer. So again, content is another significant thing. It has to be up to date. It has to be of a good quality, engaging for the customer. So data and content becomes the pivotal thing for any AI project, as we all know. So once these two things are set up, obviously AI and automation can help to scale the customer engagement. Additionally, a couple of other things what I recently come across is at times, given the AI buzz, sometimes every single problem, people think AI is an elixir for all the problems, right? That's not the case. It's important to understand the problem we are solving and also have a proper measuring criteria in the form of KPIs so that you can clearly see the outcomes. Otherwise, it may become a slippery slope. So these are some of the things I would like to call as common areas where people make mistakes.
Okay. Now, you've mentioned data a number of times. I'm sure it's not due to the fact that you're a data scientist, right?
Definitely
There's no
not.
connection there, right? But let me ask you about the data scientist piece. Not every company has a data scientist. Does every company need a data scientist today? Be fair in your answer.
Definitely for support operations, I have seen we don't need it. I am a classic example for
You
that.
are? Okay. So you don't think so? They can make it work. They don't have to have one.
Yes, at least for support operations, yes, as I was just saying, yes, we were able to use SupportLogic to almost eliminate some of the hand coding that we have written.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that way, yes, it is.
And that answer didn't hurt. You're okay.
Definitely
Okay.
not. We were able to focus on few other things which is internal for us. So that way, yes, it was a win-win for both.
Awesome. Cool. Lots of data at NTT, right? No pun intended. You used to be dimension data, right? So what are you doing? Because you have a lot of data. Tell us about what that exercise is like. Do you need data scientists? Do you have a whole building full of them? Do you have cleanup exercises going on? What is happening?
Yeah. Okay, I think most of my colleagues here will agree with me that data plays a very important role in client experience. And it is in NTT or in last few years, what we have done is we have tried understanding the data and what level of data and how do we use those data. So one thing I take pride in is what we have done is we have now come up with we have built a culture where we are always looking for opportunities to improve the way we are looking at data and how we are going to use the data. Examples, I can take few examples. So we had a lot of conversational data with us, and that is where SupportLogic is helping us with basically the sentiment analysis, the attention score, the health score, prioritization, case summarization, and we are also working with you for triage. I think that's the knowledge hub what we are building, wherein we have around 49 technologies what we work with. It's quite complex because our setup is a multi-vendor setup, and I have around 120 sub-technologies where my small team of engineers are supporting. So it becomes very important for me, irrespective of the primary, secondary skill, I should still be able to support the client when the client comes to us. So that is where we are using the data what we have. And we're also using the data to do predictive analytics and provide insights to our clients when it comes to the risk management around their assets, on their infrastructure. So, and you might have heard Dilip say, our CDO say that it's all about data. So yes, it's very important, and we have learned the art of using the data now.
That's a great way to say it. The art of using the data. Because again, we've talked about this for years in this industry. Support sits on so much data, just support, right? Every organization, whether it's sales or CS or product engineering, but support is sitting on just millions and millions of pieces. And to give that data, especially to other organizations, Karan didn't give himself and his team enough credit on this one. They just built in and rolled out churn, renewal, and expansion signals. And we have organizations now who went through the beta with us, and now it is in full deployment, where we can, and think this through, it takes $7 is the average cost to do a lead generated by support. A lead from any other source, if you have marketing and sales teams and SDRs and such, that's usually the industry average. According to TSA, it's about $130. So I can pay $130 to get a well-qualified lead. I can pay support $7. We know where this is going. And so think about setting up an alert anytime there's an expansion type of conversation or a signal that the customer may need something more or want something more. Generate an auto alert over to the sales team or to the CS team or to the renewal team. And again, another use of that data and their support walking in and their capes being the heroes once again. Obviously, we do it in a very humble way. I still want capes for support. I think that would be a good fashion statement. But I think that we should be looking at all of those opportunities of how support can help these other business lines and do it through automation. We don't have to put a heavy people cost to it. So I think that would be really meaningful. So I have one last question, okay? We're going to do some forward looking now into our future. We say we're at the beginning of the major shift, and it has accelerated, right? It's much more active right now in the past, 12, 14, 16 months. But as we think about it, if you were advising a support organization today, anybody here in this room or any organization not here, what would be your top recommendation of what they should do first as they start to look at deploying AI capabilities? So we'll just make this a fast track. You get one shot at it. What would you tell them to do? Forward thinking.
Yeah. So it's more like what I have already briefed, like data and content. That is what I feel is the most important area where people have to put their time and money so that the AI projects that they do is successful. So that is one important thing that I would say.
Okay.
Yeah, I would say,
I knew you were going to work data back in again. Okay, go ahead.
yeah, I would say first identify the use case that would add a value, be it language translation, be it automating some repetitive tasks. First, we need to identify the best use cases.
Okay, identifying the best use cases. That's a good one too. Go ahead.
Yeah, I think that's something which I wanted to say as well. AI is a buzzword and everyone wants to do something around that. And I think that's something which we shouldn't be doing, and rather focus on what is our business outcome and align ourselves, figure out what is our use case or problem that we want to resolve for ourselves or for the client. And that is where you work on an AI use case and capabilities, build us capabilities around that. And another thing which we as an organization, we are working towards is a zero touch AI capabilities.
Zero touch. That's awesome. That's amazing. I want to thank you for being with us and being so transparent and sharing your knowledge with the panel. If people want to get a hold of you, you'll be here for a little bit yet today.
Yes.
And LinkedIn connection, is that okay? If they have a question and want to reach out, is that okay? Like
Anytime.
anytime. Like you can say no when the camera's right on you. Good question, Judy. Put me on the spot. Thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it. Is there any quick question from the audience? It's a quick one. Do we have a microphone, sir? Can you raise your hand again? I saw it right there. There we go.
Hi, I think you in the beginning you spoke about one of the challenge like expectation management. So if you can give some more challenges which you have encountered and what are the approaches you have taken
to solve that, that would be really helpful.
And it was expectation management?
When you asked about the challenges you face
Okay. Expectation management of customers or of the employees?
from the customer point of view.
Okay. So do you feel like going a little bit deeper there on?
Yeah, sure. I think with the expectation management is basically these days, customer wants a very faster solution. They want personalized support. It's no longer like you're solving the tickets and at the end of the day you would get a CSAT score or a customer satisfaction score, what we call. So that's the place where AI is now helping with this sentiment signal. So during the customer journey, with this sentiment signal, you can actually fix those expectation management, I would say.
Thank you.
I
Okay.
think it's a little more complex as well when it comes to the expectation side. With you presenting yourself to the client when you say that I have these AI capabilities, usually the response from the client is, how are you going to bring down the cost? I don't think this is one of the challenges we are facing. So it is not that very easy that I have AI capabilities and I'm winning the world, but then you should have your narrative ready for such kind of conversations as well.
Some of the things that we have experimented is things around like some response timeline communication to the customer upfront. Like earlier, we used to focus on closure SLA and things like that, but now we are thinking about how quickly we can respond, having them communicated ahead of time to the customer as soon as the case is created. These are few steps that we have taken in the direction of expectation management, but it's a long way, as they were saying. Yeah.
I think the other piece about the expectation management is we should all expect that as we rework and rewire our staff to these new roles, we have to help them on this journey because it didn't exist 5 years ago. What are we going to do for them now? I think the customers are going to expect more and more of the personal relationship. And we talked about proactive and predictive. The ability to connect deeply with your customers is going to be harder and harder, but it's going to be more meaningful. Showing up in person, knowing about them, caring about them. I don't think any of us should ever overlook the value and the power in the beautiful relationships that we create. I think that's going to be more and more necessary as we move forward in this world with AI.